In the fog-shrouded streets of Port Charles, where loyalties fracture like autumn leaves underfoot, the winds of fate are stirring once more. As October unfurls its crimson tapestry, General Hospital promises a whirlwind of revelations, betrayals, and forbidden desires that will leave even the steeliest hearts quivering. From clandestine interrogations to life-altering confessions, the next 3 weeks, spanning October 6 through 17, will thrust our beloved residents into tempests of emotion and intrigue. Brace yourselves, dear viewers, for a saga where every whisper hides a dagger, and every embrace conceals a storm. At the epicenter of this maelstrom stands Carly Corinthos, a woman whose unyielding spirit has weathered more tempests than the Atlantic itself. Yet, as the week of October 6-10 dawns, she finds herself ensnared in a web of scrutiny that could unravel her empire of secrets. Is this a formal inquisition by the long arm of the law, with badges gleaming under fluorescent lights? Or something far more insidious, a shadowy conclave where old wounds are prodded like embers in a dying fire? Carly's eyes, sharp as shattered glass, will pierce through the veil, but at what cost? Her defiance, ever the spark that ignites chaos, may fan flames she cannot contain. Meanwhile, the prodigal daughter returns. Jocelyn Jacks sweeps back into town like a rogue wave, her presence rippling through the undercurrents of family and forbidden love. No sooner has she unpacked her burdens than she's beckoned into the lion's den, a tense rendezvous with the enigmatic Jack Brennan, whose gaze holds the chill of calculated intent. Brennan, ever the puppeteer in Port Charles's grand theatre of deception, seeks assurances from Jocelyn and her erstwhile paramour, S. Vaughn. Their ill-fated romance, a blaze that scorched too brightly, must be extinguished utterly, he insists. But can two hearts, tethered by invisible threads, truly sever their bond? Whispers suggest a clandestine rebellion, stolen glances in moonlit alleys, a brush of fingers that defies decree. In this dance of defiance, Jocelyn's return heralds not just homecoming, but the spark of a rebellion that could engulf them all. Across town, in the sterile hush of General Hospital's corridors, Portia Robinson grapples with a destiny that defies her careful blueprints. Teamed with an unlikely ally, she teeters on the precipice of a transformation that will echo through generations. The omens are subtle yet merciless, a fleeting nausea, the betrayal of a calendar's cruel arithmetic. When the truth crashes upon her, an unplanned pregnancy, blooming in secrecy, Portia's world will fracture like fine porcelain under an unseen blow. Shock will carve lines into her poised facade, forcing her to confront the ghosts of choices past. Will this fragile new life mend the fractures in her family, or widen them into chasms too vast to bridge? In Port Charles, where miracles masquerade as misfortunes, Portia's revelation promises to rewrite the stars. Justice, that elusive phantom, prowls the shadows of crime in the days ahead. Anna Devane and Harrison Chase, paragons of pursuit, wield a hard-won search warrant like a scalpel through the Gordian knot of felony. Their quarry? The tangled skeins of illicit deeds that ensnare the innocent and embolden the guilty. No stone will remain unturned, no alibi unchallenged, as they carve toward the heart of the darkness. Curtis Ashford, undeterred by his own scars, ventures into uncharted waters with a hypothesis as bold as it is precarious. Piecing together the fractured mosaic of that fateful night, The gunfire's echo, the blur of panic. He probes the enigma of Kai Taylor and Trina Robinson's desperate gambit. Motives twist like smoke, alibis dissolve in the rain. As Curtis inches closer to the pulse of truth, he risks awakening vipers long dormant, turning allies into adversaries in the blink of an eye. Yet amid the grit of investigation, familial fires rage anew. Tracy Quartermaine, that indomitable dowager of dynastic wars, squares off against the interloping Veronica in a clash that could topple empires. The Quartermaine mansion, bastion of blue blood and buried grudges, becomes the battlefield where Tracy unleashes her arsenal. Wit honed to a rapier's edge, resolve forged in the crucibles of loss. This house is mine by right and wrath, she vows, her voice a thunderclap that rattles ancestral portraits. Veronica, no wilting flower, will parry with cunning, but Tress's fury is a force of nature, unyielding, unrelenting. Victory here is not merely territorial, it's a reclamation of legacy, a gauntlet thrown to the ghosts of Quartermaine's past. In quieter corners, tenderness flickers like candlelight in a gale. Nathan, the phoenix risen from oblivion, shares a moment of poignant grace with his son, James West. Their first encounter, sweet as dawn's first blush, unfolds as James beholds his father not as myth, but flesh and wonder. "You're real," the boy breathes, bridging the abyss of absence with wide-eyed awe. For Nathan, it's redemption wrapped in small hands, a chance to etch his name not in infamy, but in the soft clay of fatherhood. These fragile joys, however, are but respites in the gathering storm. Power plays cast longer shadows still. Michael Corinthos, his jaw set like granite, dangles a perilous leverage over Willow, a boon laced with barbs that could shatter her fragile peace. Is it her uncanny precision, a markswoman's gift turned to darker ends? Or her veiled foray into espionage, shadowing the spectral Daisy Gilmore through veils of deceit? Michael's threat hangs like a guillotine, poised to sever trusts long nurtured. Willow, caught in the crossfire of love and loyalty, must navigate this minefield where every step echoes with consequence. In the Corinthos realm, advantage is a double-edged sword, and Michael's gambit may carve deeper than he dares admit. No soul embodies turmoil quite like Britt Westbourne, whose resurrection stirs tempests anew. Entangled in the labyrinthine schemes of Professor Henry, Hank, Dalton, she courts peril that seeps like venom through her veins. This dalliance, a siren song of intellect and illicit thrill, draws the ire of Brennan's watchful cabal and catapults her into the crosshairs of the vengeful Jen Sidwell upon her return to Port Charles. Britt's shadows lengthen, her secrets a noose tightening with each breath. Emma Scorpio Drake, that fierce heir to legacy, uncovers the impossible. Britt endures, a specter from yesteryear's nightmares. Their reunion crackles with enmity's electricity, old vendettas reignited, sharpened by time's cruel forge. Britt, ensnared in Dalton's quagmire, becomes the lightning rod for storms long brewing. But in Jason Morgan's unshakable orbit, salvation glimmers. He, the sentinel of silenced screams, refuses to forsake her, chipping away at the fortress of her solitude with patient ferocity. Their bond, woven from threads of shared silences and survived infernos, pulses with unspoken fire. As the week of October 13, 17 crests, walls crumble, vulnerability blooms in stolen confessions. A kiss, inevitable as tide to shore, may seal their pact, though Carly, ever the jealous gale, will rage against this resurgence, her heart a battlefield of old flames unquenched. Even innocence frays in this tapestry. Rocco Falconeri, yearning for kinship with the enigmatic Britt, yearns to pierce her armor of aloofness. Yet Lulu Spencer, guardian of grudges, interposes like a spectre at the feast. With honeyed words laced with arsenic, she unveils Britt's fractured past, sowing seeds of doubt in Rocco's tender soil. "She's a storm in silk, my boy," Lulu murmurs, her campaign a subtle siege to alienate an arm. Will Rocco succumb to this maternal maneuver, or forge his own path through the thorns? Amid these tempests, glimmers of harmony persist. Giovanni, Gio, Palmieri, the interloper-turned-kin, weaves deeper into the Quartermain weave, his charm a balm to fractured bonds. Brooke Lynn Quartermain watches with bated breath, her heart aflutter with hope's fragile wings. If Gio's ascent mends the rifts, rekindling sparks long dimmed, then perhaps the Quartermain hearth will glow anew, a beacon against the encroaching night. Oh, Port Charles, your dramas are symphonies of the soul, crescendos of heartbreak, adagios of atonement. The weeks ahead brim with such visceral splendor that to blink is to miss the magic. Tune in, hold fast, and let the revelations wash over you like rain on parched earth. For in this eternal hospital of hearts, no wound is final, and every pulse beats with possibility.